Welcome back, Red Spotters, to our final show of the year, Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm your host today, Alexis J. Soto, joined by Mr. Peter Martinez, the ever-present being, as well as Kyle Lira, the ever-not-so-present being today.
Don't you mean Kylissimo?
Today we are here to talk about a show, or to do a show, quite frankly, that we have intended to do for a long period of time and has been delayed for various reasons, one of which it's been a pretty big year for film and television, and we were devoting our coverage to that. Other reasons I will not get into, probably Peter would mention them. But the point is, we are here to finally talk about our favorite movies of the year 2020 on this, the final episode of the year 2021.
Yay.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, shit. Oh, top. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't understand the assignment. Hold on. I'm erasing the 29 Marvel films rank list.
Oh, yeah. Well, 30 now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Both Kyle Lira and Peter Martinez, for the record, have been warned that if they attempt to masquerade a television series as a film, those will be edited out from the final version of this podcast, so they will tread however they wish to in that regard. So we are here for movies, right? As 2020 was in movies.
Movies in all their forms.
Plenty of salt. Fuck off with all their form bullshit. This year... As from this year, it still feels like this year. 2020 was the most difficult year to find movies. Although it didn't really mean that much for Peter, because apparently he still saw the exact number of films he sees every year, if not more so. So maybe here, in this case, I'm speaking for myself and maybe even for Kyle, that it was damn near difficult to find films to see in a year where theaters were closed and all of us had to venture out into streaming and find movies that we had there. But we always knew this show would be interesting, and I can't wait to see some random, if not unpredictable choices that we have here. Kyle has informed me that he wishes to begin, and if that is the case, Kyle, you have the floor.
I thought you went first.
Kyle intends
Kyle
to
went
be first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay. All right, hold on. I'm setting the timer because I'm going to take exactly 20 minutes to discuss.
He's watching one final film.
If you...
On his phone. He's trying to get in 10 real quick.
If you don't make it under 20 minutes, what do we win?
Yeah. Keep in mind, the clock's already moving.
You win nothing. I haven't started the clock yet. You win absolutely nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
But how do we lose if you lose, too?
I already lost. 2020 and 2021, I've already lost. The whole world has lost. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I begin the clock, I just want to preface something about this. So... as you know, as everybody knows, there's a little thing going on right now. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Apparently, the whole world has forgotten about it. But a little thing called the pandemic is happening right now. Oh. And, it's
got a new name now. Omicron.
Yeah. Fucking
I love sequels.
Transformers asses. Anyway. I mean, good. Congrats to the pandemic for making the third season. I mean, hopefully it makes Netflix numbers and gets canceled by the third season. But who the fuck knows? So, I just want to make it very clear about me personally this year. I mean, specifically, within 2020 and this pandemic, is that 2021, I've been a little bit better about watching movies, but in terms of 2020, my depression was on a spiral, and I just found it really, really, especially because I run a movie podcast and what have you, it was really difficult for me to have the motivation to watch anything last year. So, and it still kind of seeps into this year because of and it doesn't help that, our dearly beloved leaders decided to take a vacation and said, fuck you, I'm not dealing with the coronavirus. It doesn't help that that happened. It didn't help that, nobody else is taking anything seriously. And here we are. And it made me upset, and it has depressed me utterly so. And it doesn't help that I already have these pre-existing conditions. Shut up, Peter. And it doesn't help that I already have these mental illness to speak of to boot. So just to let you know, I am the only one of us who didn't properly do the homework, and for that I am sorry. Hopefully I'll list some other movies by the time we do the 2021 list in March, which we're gonna do. So yeah, so I'm starting the clock now. All right.
That's bullshit. You gave a whole spiel. That should have been part of the 20 minutes.
No. Oh, that's
That took 3 minutes, by the way.
Yeah. We're adding 3 minutes on top of whatever you do.
I said before I start the clock,
No.
Stop the steal.
Stop the steal. Stop the count.
Stop the count.
Both of it.
Okay, here's a quick run through of some of the films that I really enjoyed this year. Number one is and this is no in particular order. It's just things that I found interesting this year. All right.
So just to be clear here, how many movies did you see this year?
Exactly 10.
Okay.
Wait, so it's not a top 10. It's a
10 things that I saw.
10 things I saw.
So you're not even ranking them. They're just
You're not even going to rank them.
It's just interesting, but some would be definitely in my top 10. I'll if I had a proper top 10. So
okay.
So here we are. Okay, so here's the first one. It is Star Kid Homecoming. I'm not sure if you guys know of the theater group called Star Kid. They do a bunch of parody work. I think it was incredible.
I regret doing this now.
Oh yeah. You should have thought of that, sir. All right.
I should have. I really should have.
So Star Kid Homecoming, it has its roots. I don't know if you guys know of a guy named Darren Criss, but he was part of the original like crew in Star Kid, and I think that the concert film was just an accumulation of the 10 years that Star Kid has been in existence. So it was really nice. People,
what's it about?
It's a concert film. It's a concert film of them performing their hits.
Oh, so they're just singing?
It's like a singing. Yeah, it's basically it's a concert film.
Is it like a band?
There was a band playing with them.
You are not explaining this. Wait. Okay. What were their songs about? Were they just general songs?
No, okay, because the thing is that they're a theater group, right? And they've had
that was what threw me off.
They've had shows over the years, right?
About what?
Original shows. There was Twisted, a tale about a royal vizier. It's a spoof on Wicked, but instead of Elphaba, it's Jafar from Aladdin. There's the Harry Potter musicals. All three of them.
So they did children movie spoofs.
Yeah, but like give it an adult twist to all of them.
And what you're talking about is a video in which they sang all their popular songs.
It's a little bit more than that. But yes, basically, bare bones, yes. Okay, the next one I saw, Uncle Frank.
Oh, hold on. Alexis,
no,
hey,
we're running...
is that a film?
What was being described there was a concert movie. A concert film is a well-established genre of movies. And look, Kyle, for all intents and purposes, this was presented as a feature presentation, correct? It wasn't just a YouTube video?
No, it was put on, it went on to digital. You could buy it on Blu-ray, you could do all that stuff, and
Okay. And the runtime?
It was even in select theaters.
Okay.
Whoa, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one is Uncle Frank. Goddamn.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Goddamn. Like, first of all, like, this is what Encanto should be.
Wait. Okay, hold on.
all
You're gonna go way past your 20 minutes because I've seen this fucking film, and how fucking dare you?
all
See,
it
any-
takes, all it
where's-
takes. Wait. Okay. All it takes is the removal of one toxic family member. That's it. That's it.
Speaking of which, gentlemen, I was so looking forward to your podcast talking about Encanto on Fantasy Fair. Where did that go?
I'm still waiting.
We have to record it all together according to the High Priestess's request.
What?
She changed her mind?
She wants to do it with all of
She
us.
changed the terms?
No, the change.
No,
the
not
terms were-
not the what's it called? Not the audio commentary. We're talking about the review.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it all together. Yeah, that was always the terms. Moreno, I know I'm the only one who listens to you, and I'm sorry. Okay, so all it takes is the removal of one toxic family member. And
What's Uncle Frank about?
It's about a closeted gay man, played by Paul Bettany, right? And
Yes.
and he's been avoiding going back home to go visit, because of course
His hick family.
yeah, his hick family, that should throw up red flags. Hick family, gay, does that.
I think it's the 70s too.
Mess. And yeah, it's the 70s too, so it's a bad combination all together. And so he's been dreading this trip, because he's going to his father's funeral, who was very homophobic to him and saying, telling him that he's like, he's a curse, and telling him that, everything like that. And you're going to hell, damn you, and all that stuff. And it didn't take until that family member was away for the family to be like, we always knew, and all that stuff. And it's more about it's more of the journey than the destination, so to speak, and the journey that we took to get there. And also coming to grips with himself, I think, was really, really important as well, because like he had a lot of issues with himself. Yeah. What?
You can slow down. It's not a race.
No, I am racing. I only got 13 minutes left. Okay. So, I think, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry. It is a really good documentary. It is more of a documentary than shut up, God. God, I'm gonna block your fucking faces with the Audacity screen. Okay, so Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, I think is a terrific look, and it is also refreshing to see the previous generation before millennials admit that they fucked up the world and fucked up their kids. So there was a moment.
Now,
Billie
Eilish.
Yes.
Who is Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish. Shut up. Anyway, so Billie Eilish. Okay, the next one, Soul, I think was an incredible film. I think it just like this would be one of the movies that were in my top 10 films.
It would have been in your top 10.
Yes, a proper top 10.
Okay.
So Soul, I think was a great movie and a look into what makes life so precious. And for a depressing year, I think it was a nice refreshment.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one I saw. It was Wendy, and honestly, like the concept was genius of like twisting the Peter Pan tale. I'm a sucker for those, except unless you're Pan. Pan, you can
Kyle.
go fuck yourself.
Kyle,
What do you want, Peter?
breathe.
No. So Wendy, I think, was an incredible film, incredible concept. I like what they did at the end of the twist, making Captain Hook actually, empathetic. I think that was a good little thing. The Invisible Man, by God, I love I think that it was a great horror film, and honestly, was it the last
Cathartic?
one? Cathartic, yeah, especially after a year before. Yeah, it was beautiful.
We saw it in a bad night.
Yeah, you guys saw it on a bad night.
The world had a bad night, but go ahead.
Anyway, let's go onward with Onward. Nice transit. Okay, this movie I couldn't stop bawling. It's an unspoken rule of mine. If you make me bawl, you automatically have touched my emotional core. So you done your, you've done
Isn't
your
that
job.
anything that makes you bawl has touched your emotional? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. The personal history of David Copperfield. I'm a sucker for British comedy, and this is a period British comedy, nonetheless. It had all my favorites in it. I can't complain. This would have been one of my favorites. All right. The personal history of David Copperfield. And not only that, but it's cinematically beautiful. I love the glowy look of this without making it look too saturated.
Now, explain who's David Copperfield.
David Copperfield is a Charles Dickens character. Anyway, so Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train. Oh boy.
Wait, can you say that title again?
Okay, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train, the movie. Okay, last year I got into a show called Demon Slayer. I don't know if you heard about it. It's an anime, and it is absolutely fantastic. I love the strength of the older brother by the name of Tanjiro Kamado, and the quest to make his sister Nezuko undemonified after being turned into a demon. So he's on this quest to turn her back human. And
isn't that just Full Metal Alchemist?
And this quest is absolutely amazing. And this movie, tears running down my eyes because a mentor figure. No, I'm not gonna say more. Go watch Demon Slayer, y'all. It's amazing. And then my number one film, the film where it happened, concert movie, Hamilton. I'm glad.
Oh God!
I'm glad I finally was able to see it. Just see it. And this would have been in my top 10 as well.
Would it have been your one?
Probably.
Okay.
I think Hamilton is so amazing. I think Hamilton really like it's fine. It's nice to finally get the full effect. Like, it's one thing to listen to the music before, which I did, but it's another thing to actually see the story happen before your very eyes. And it's nice to have like visual cues and put visual phases to the songs, and I think that it really made its magic, made its spark. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, you were going for a streak until Encanto happened. So yeah, I think yeah, Hamilton is brilliant. I can't say anything more. It was absolutely fun. It was fundamentally fun. Okay. Okay, now on the timer, I have 7 minutes to spare, minus the 3 minutes that I spent explaining. So I have 4 minutes on the clock. Boys, you have any questions?
A lot.
I don't think it counts. You can't smear shit on a wall and say you painted it, and that's kind of what you did there.
There's a lot there, I mean that kind of painting will sell for $1 million,
Okay. It depends on the shit, I guess.
Grass-fed shit.
I don't think that counts. I will not give you the win, but I won't take you to the Supreme Court about it. It was a very Kyle list. The choices, I will say. The Hamilton one, I don't hate Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get why people like it. There's some great songs in there. Yeah, no, it's a very Kyle list with a couple of surprises, but they shouldn't have been surprises, I guess. But yes, all right. I feel like your top 10 would probably be similar anyways if you saw every film that came out.
Can you do me a favor and list them again? All of them real quick by name?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna write it down or something?
No, I forgot. A lot of those I didn't even know existed. That's why I want to know what they're called.
Star Kid Homecoming,
Okay.
Uncle Frank, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, Soul, Wendy, The Invisible Man, Onward, Personal History of David Copperfield, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Mugen Train, the movie, and Hamilton.
See, the reason why I say it doesn't count, because kind of the point is to give us a taste of what the movie is. And like with Star Kid, you just started talking about it as like you assumed we knew what the fuck you were talking about.
I've mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast.
You have, but I don't remember. I don't know what this is. I don't like.
Okay.
It's interesting you're into Demon Souls though. Okay.
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Sorry, I've heard of it. I haven't watched it. But I think it's the #1 animated film, all-time film in Japan.
It is. It is. Like,
yeah.
It made crazy numbers in Japan.
Because I remember reading an interview where, what's his name? The Japanese animator. He makes all kinds of fucking anime. My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
Miyazaki. I guess he had talked to his partner about how it had made it, and he asked him, like, oh, like, what was... Because I guess it beat his record.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, what movie was it? And then he told him what movie it was. And then I guess he thought about it for a second. He's like, yeah, that's the kind of movie that would win right now. I think he basically said something like that, which is pretty funny. Yeah, okay, I guess that's Kyle's list.
It is definitely my list.
Were there no other movies that came out that year that at all interested you? That you meant to see but didn't get around to seeing?
Oh god, there's so many. Nomadland, Minari.
Was Godzilla vs. King Kong 2021?
Yes.
That was 2021.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, dude, look how long this fucking year has
Holy
felt.
shit. And we're worse than it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
With COVID.
You know that meme of freaking Bernie Sanders sitting on on the Capitol steps?
That was that was 11 months ago.
That was 11 months ago, and it feels like it came out a decade ago.
End this misery. Okay. I guess we're on to Mr. Alexis.
So
our hostess with the mostest.
So 2020 I feel is kind of like there's a lot of truth to what Peter says about the rule of every other year. Whereas we get a really amazing year in movie and then the other year is kind of a dud. But then immediately after the next year is pretty fantastic. And I think it's been no secret that, 2019 was kind of like an all-time great year for movies. Then 2020, it was just really kind of nothing. I mean, as a body, I mean. And then 2021, there's just too many to pick from. So, and also to that, it was also a far better year in television than it was for movies. Any way you slice it.
Hey, no television here.
So, and it's not, but it's just talking about the year in movies and how really overall as a group of, it just wasn't all that great. But even in the worst of years, at least for me, there were plenty of offerings here. Although because the theaters weren't around, my total sum really dropped dramatically. I only was able to see 33 movies this year. That I count as actual movies. And as far as like liking them or not,
you hear that, Peter? What he counts as actual movies.
Yeah, because there were television specials that are logged on Letterboxd, but they're not movies, so I don't count them as movies.
Extended film.
No. Did you see anything in 2020 real quick, Kyle, that you despised or disliked?
Well, as you know, I just listed off everything I watched.
But that was false because you also saw Mulan, and that was a 2020 movie.
I like to forget that movie exists.
But you saw it. Nevertheless.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I, though?
You did.
Are you looking at my letterbox?
No, I'm looking at mine. And I know you saw that movie because you were with me when I saw it. Unless you forgot that.
Once again, I like to forget that movie ever happened.
Yeah. Okay. So, in addition to my top 10, I have some honorable mentions here. I'm going to start off with our beloved, or lovely Aaron Sorkin, The Trial of the Chicago 7. While Peter and I definitely bitched and moaned that, this really had no business being included in the list of top 10, or Best Picture nominees, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And we had a hell of a time laughing at that ending. So one of the most hilarious endings of all time, The Trial of Chicago 7, because of how, how it's played off and everything. But we still very much enjoy this movie. And I still, an Aaron Sorkin movie is an Aaron Sorkin movie. If you were entertained by his writing and his shenanigans, if you will, his sharp wit and all of the fast talking and the walk down hallways and corridors and all the political psychobabble, you're going to enjoy this. And there was some fun stuff in here all around. It's certainly by no means, it was hilarious to me how a certain media personality referred to this as the best film that Netflix ever put out. And I'm like, man, you must not see many Netflix films then, if that's the case.
This is going to sound like a dig. Maybe it is. I don't know. I feel like Aaron Sorkin films are the Marvel movies of the Oscar bait category.
Okay.
They're all pizzazz, razzle dazzle, quips back and forth. Instead of action, you get those intense back and forth arguments that the Oscars love so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was some wonderful performances in here. Sacha Baron Cohen was great, as well as Frank Langella, I believe, as the racist judge. He was hilarious, and to see him get triggered of all the stuff going on. I believe Yahya is also in here. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is also in here, as well as Fred Hampton, who was also a figure in another film that technically came out in the award season of 2020, but is in actuality a 2021 movie, so it's not on this list. So because we go by release date here, not by Oscar
we go
campaign.
Release date, not that bullshit.
So
Oscars.
Judas and the Black Messiah, which is a film that I watched along the same time as this, but came out in the calendar year 2021, will be on that. So no, but
the year of our Lord.
Yeah, basically. Also on this list of honorable mentions is I believe you want to call, I guess it would be called a concert film, Hamilton. Hamilton?
Oh, it's too Brutus.
It's an honorable mention.
Oh, you're still on honorable mentions?
Clearly. This was not a top 10 countdown. This is honorable mentions.
Oh, I was a little worried about that top 10. Okay, go ahead.
No. No. Hamilton, yeah. It is a lot of fun. It's got some really good songs involved in it, and there's a lot of rapping, too. I really enjoyed it, and then I also was really entertained by Peter's takes of Hamilton. I always enjoy Peter's takes on Broadway musicals because he always ends up turning the connotation to a deeply negative place. But I mean, it is warranted.
There you go again.
But it is fair. All the things that you say.
Also, for the record, Peter Martinez did not hate Cats.
He didn't hate Hamilton.
I didn't hate Hamilton either. And Cats, I don't know if it's possible to hate it. It's sort of like...
Well, people hate it.
It's like hating an idea. I guess you can hate ideas.
No, look, there are some people out there...
It's like trying to touch an idea.
God, there are some people out there that just... Either they don't get the humor or it goes over their... Or they just don't accept it. But there are films that come out like Cats or The Matrix Resurrections, for example, that do something really well, but I guess on the base level it doesn't register with people, or they just don't understand the point, or they don't care that it was the point. And hey, that's fair. As Peter says, sometimes films connect and sometimes they don't. Yeah. This is kind of how it is. But I thought what was pretty hilarious about watching Hamilton for the first time, like, again, we talked about this at length, but it was really glaring how Lin-Manuel was the weakest performer by far, and he's the lead in that entire ensemble of like really powerful singers.
There's an actor that was currently was touring with Hamilton, and a lot of people say that he superseded and feels like that's how that it should have been from the start. Who's playing as Hamilton right now, or was before shit hit the fan, so to speak.
My favorite take was Peter's reaction to that hurricane song or whatever it was, or the part where they address his adultery and how the musical treated it.
Oh yeah,
that was
how dare that whore
can't
steal
say
him
no
from
to
his
this.
family. She used her witcherly body to seduce him. It wasn't his fault, guys. He had no agency.
He was tired. He was tired.
He was tired. What was he supposed to do? He was tired. So stupid.
All right, next on my honorable mentions, this movie is not good, but it was so much fun, and Peter and I had so much fun talking about it. Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams actually were a great pair, and this is Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga. This was so much fun. This was so dumb and stupid, but I had some big laughs that I still remember. There's this wonderful sequence where Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams are just like trying to process where they're at the moment, and the fact that they were humiliated as they're kind of the joke is they're not a great musical act, but they still attempt to go into contests. And Demi Lovato, who beat them, ended up being assassinated as there was a bomb at this place, and her literal hand falls on them as they see this explosion off in the distance. It was one of the best scenes and laughs I've had in a long time.
That was one good scene.
It was amazing. And even some of the songs in here by the other contestants are pretty good. So,
well, Demi does mean part.
And yet you couldn't watch that one. But a lot of body.
Had I have known.
Don't even start.
But okay, I guess I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole because I feel like that's not going to end in a good place. The point is here. I feel that the original song that came out of this was definitely robbed for Best Original Song at the Oscars. And that was the song, Peter, that Rachel McAdams sings about her hometown. Husavik.
Oh, yeah.
And even there was a wonderful, beautiful live performance of it at the Oscars telecast. But no, we had to give it to who? I don't even know. Some boring song.
Probably some stupid ass.
It probably was so, but no, this is the best. This is even though like Will Ferrell, like his stuff is very hit or miss, and not that like his track record as far as laughs was great in this movie, but he had a really interesting dynamic with Rachel McAdams, and I'm really excited for Rachel because this is the second comedy in a row where she, or maybe even third, but she's really like, you know, for the longest time she's come across as like a romantic comedy or just like dramatic actress, but like. She's got some comedic chops there that I think are definitely worth exploring with this and Game Night under her belt. Next is Sound of Metal, starring Riz Ahmed. Riz Ahmed was great. The film was very good and pretty sad. And yeah, that's kind of, it kind of stays there, and there's not much more to it. But it's a very solid movie. But it's one of those that just kind of like. I mean, I think it's on an honorable mention because of Riz Ahmed, and just because of that. But for the most part, I mean, I do understand why people were passionate about it, but I wasn't so much enthralled with it. Next I have is Da 5 Bloods by Spike Lee. I really like this one. I know we had mixed reactions when we reviewed this back whenever this was. But in spite of the fact that, you know, Spike Lee can't help himself, especially with his ending sometimes. I mean, there was the obligatory, like, chant of Black Lives Matter, like, randomly out of nowhere at the end of the film, if you recall that. Even though, like, this is about these Vietnam War veterans that come back to Vietnam after such a long period of time for a reunion. and they get caught up in some unfortunate circumstances that results in pretty gory stuff happening as well. And you also have an interesting, I mean, at times it's played like a caricature, but it's an actual well-rounded character in the form of Delroy Lindo, who is the scapegoat Trump supporter there, which I thought was an interesting angle, and also a tremendous performance by Delroy Lindo that was criminally just like ignored completely. He should have been at the Oscar ceremony. And to his credit, it was also a wonderful performance in a supporting role by Chadwick Boseman, one of his final performances there as well. So, I think as far as, an acting standpoint, I thought it was a very good film. So that is To Five Bloods on Netflix. Also on Apple TV Plus was the documentary Boys State. Peter and I also reviewed this one, and Peter also had a very Peter-esque reaction to it. But understandable, of course, because it really does. Again, it's more where the subject material is what's upsetting, more so than the actual filmmaking going on. But if you're not familiar, Boys State is this long-standing tradition sponsored by the American Legion all across 50 states of the United States, where you have high school junior boys that are selected through a process to attend a week-long convention of sorts in the state's capital. And the entire purpose of this...
Sounds like a cult.
And the entire purpose of this is to instruct them... Well, on paper, the purpose of this is to instruct them as to how, civics works. Although in actuality, I think Peter has a better way of explaining this than I do. It's anything but, really. It's really like, there's a reason why you have people like Bill Clinton that came out of this kind of scenario. And this particular Boys State took place, if I'm not mistaken, in the year 2018. That was when Beto O'Rourke had his original race against Ted Cruz. And it does take place in Texas. And so you see the conservatives and you see the liberals and the progressives all huddled there. And again, it's a mostly conservative state. So I thought it was a pretty interesting watch just to see the makeup and to see, because again, these are junior high school boys and, that particular age, and we follow them around. But when you see...
You hate everyone.
I don't think you hate everyone. There's one, but I don't think that's reason to hate him. I think it's reason to hate...
Is it a group in particular that you hate, Peter?
I think it's everybody involved, but I do as well for the most part, because it's a wonderful showcase for how conservatism manages to survive, and that is by calling foul and pointing the finger and pulling bullshit out of their ass, which is what happens here. But look, the whole thing with Boys State is it's not just to instruct them on civics or whatever, but it actually throws them in to play the game, quote unquote. Like, think of Pete Buttigieg, think of Bill Clinton. Like, that's exactly the kind of mentality that you're in when it comes to like how this particular construct is, right? And there's the entire week, there's this election, quote unquote, where one of the however many attendees is elected the governor of the entire body. Peter, how did that process seem like to you? It was a joke, really.
This movie would make Santa hate children, okay? It is a fucking nightmare. It's literally just the electoral process, but done by 12-year-old boys. And it becomes hate is the only word I can think of when discussing this film. Yeah.
You got so upset.
Yeah. You always make me see films like this.
Okay, so another honorable mention, Minari. Steven Yeun is incredible. I can't wait to see where his future goes, but that nomination was definitely well-deserved. And it's kind of a hard film to describe because it just it is what it is. Mostly it's this group of Korean farmers that this is during the 1980s. They have come out west. They were in California for a bit, but then they came to the Midwest because Steven Yeun really believes in the farm that he wants to build, but he's having problems at home because the wife doesn't want really anything to do with this business and wants to remain where she was in California. And so it's kind of a domestic struggle on some level. The children are there, which, isn't making anything easier. Then there's a grandma that comes out of nowhere that really just, well, you know how those kind of stories go. But it's, I don't know, maybe melancholy is the best way to describe this one, but it's one of those. It's just very atmospheric, and I understand it was a very well executed film, but it just kind of is, and it's just kind of there. And not much more of an impact is made out of it, but I wanted to mention it just because of Stephen Yeun. Onward. Tom Holland, Chris Pratt, Pixar, Dan Scanlon. This was a really fun movie. It actually ended up being the last movie we saw in theaters before everything was closed down. And, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. And then the ending is pretty emotional. And so, yeah, good on Pixar. Also, I have One Night in Miami, which was very, very good. This was...
Might I add something in Onward a little bit?
I mean,
never mind. I took my.
No, I mean,
minutes.
sure, you could have. You had.
I'm running.
See, if you had actually discussed the films...
No, the whole point of this is to have a discussion, not to just read a shopping list into the air. That's never been what this has been about, but by all means, sure.
The movie really struck a chord with me because I had a really big fight with my younger brother before, and it just the whole bit about brothers and just really, really struck an emotional chord with me. Anyway, Onward, continue.
So the next movie was One Night in Miami, directed by Regina King. It had wonderful performances. Kingsley Benadir was tremendous as Malcolm, and this is a character. We've seen Denzel Washington do this performance before, but Kingsley Benadir was pretty great. And I thought that was a performance that went generally unignored. I mean, very ignored. And in favor, they went with Leslie Odom Jr., who was also very good. And he played,
Sam Cooke.
Yes, Sam Cooke. Yeah, but I don't know. But it's a really, I would say that this is a wonderful adaptation of a stage play. Even though it still very much feels like that. Camp Powers, I believe, also wrote the screenplay for this, who I believe was also wrote the screenplay for, or co-wrote the screenplay for Soul, which is another film we'll discuss in a bit. But yeah, it's a really good movie because the whole thing is just these conversations of these, these four historical figures that were friends, or at least the concept in this movie, not to say if this actually happened. I'm not going to go there. But as the movie is concerned, it's just kind of like this imaginary way of what would these people talk about in this particular time? And it's pretty great. Last honorable mention is the Bee Gees. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? I cannot believe Kyle didn't see this one, of all things. This was an outstanding documentary. The Bee Gees were a group that I have always enjoyed, but I've never really been a super fan of by any means, and still am not, but I do like their music. But it's just a wonderful exploration of how they came onto the scene and the history between all of them. And it was on HBO Max, and still I believe is on HBO Max for those that want to see. So those are the honorable mentions. Okay, to the top 10. So at number 10, look, I was actually surprised. At the end of the day, there are 10 movies here that I actually quite enjoy. And at number 10, this film is a flat-out comedy. I have to say I've basically seen all these movies here in my room, but I was cackling so fucking loud. I mean, seriously, and this is a true work of art. This man is a national treasure for.
I think I know.
I know what you. I know. We talked about it. We talked about all these movies, but this one, he's a national treasure because he's able to just really put it out there about what is truth and what we are, and in the most audacious way possible, and how he has been able to do the work that he does without getting assassinated or shot at this point is pretty fucking amazing. But man, when I tell you that I had not laughed that hard in such a long time, and when you pair that with the fact that we had an election around this time, This was fucking great. And this is Borat, subsequent movie film. Sacha Baron Cohen. With a wonderful performance and kind of a revelation by Maria Bakalova, who was pretty great. And those two were outstanding together. But there were some segments and the places that they infiltrated throughout America. I mean, I'm going to remember some of these gags for the rest of my life. I mean, I can still remember parts of the film where Sacha Baron Cohen, as Borat, infiltrated and I believe brought a Trump fat suit with him. And then he brought it with him and went to the bathroom, put it on, and then went into the CPAC main area where Mike Pence, then vice president, was giving a speech, and then, caused a whole scene and everything. There were so many other ones too, but I guess you can't top the Rudy Giuliani bit, where he was literally caught with his pants down. And it's like
that was something.
It's like a lot of his work, like on Showtime, there was the show, I believe it was called Who is America, right? He continuously shows us who we are, and there's no one better at that than him. It was, I don't know if I can't believe you didn't see this, Kyle, because this was so funny.
Once again, apologies for not doing the homework.
It's on Amazon Prime right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Anything? Did you want to say anything about Borat, Mr. Martinez, or would you like to wait for your comments on it?
I mean, ditto.
All right, so my number 9 is a movie that in every time we've had a conversation and every time that the title for this movie has come up, for whatever reason, Kyle just laughs. So it is My Octopus Teacher. Every time I've literally said this out loud, Kyle has laughed. I don't know why or what's so funny about it. I guess he's thinking about tentacle porn. I don't know. That's my only amount.
I'm thinking about a bunch of things when you say My Octopus Teacher.
Why?
Welcome to my mind.
Is that what you saw in 2020 then?
No.
So this was a documentary film on Netflix that actually ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Documentary. And a lot of people were like put off by that, but it's one of those movies that you put on and you just like can't look away, because this is a really strange yet intimate relationship that this scuba diver finds with like a baby squid or octopus or whatever you want to call it. And first of all, the videography, the cinematography of where this octopus lives is just so picturesque, so beautiful. But there are just these moments in the movie that really just make the hair on the back of your spine just stand up, because it's like you see this kind of like almost supernatural-esque connection that these two species form. And it's just it's in some spaces just really emotional, especially as it nears its end. And if the life cycle of an octopus, at some point this had to end. And that in and of itself was quite emotional. So definitely one of my favorite documentaries I've had the pleasure of seeing. So that is, yes.
How extensive was his relationship with this octopus?
From memory, I would say they saw each other almost every day.
You know what I'm asking.
So that is My Octopus Teacher. At number 8,
It was a fair question.
okay. That was pretty crass. Like, how fucking disgusting are you? That's not what this is. Okay. Number 8 is Soul by Disney and Pixar and Pete Docter. And this is a very good movie. And in some spaces, it actually hits the right buttons that I wanted it to do. Ultimately, though, it is quite a curious film because I don't know what it was, maybe in the developmental stage about it, but and maybe it was my sky high expectations for what I'm used to with Pete Docter, but for whatever reason, I would say this is his weakest movie. But then again, you're comparing that to Inside Out and Up and Monsters Inc. But it was still very, very good. It's in the top 10 for Christ's sake, and it definitely spoke to, a theme that we definitely needed in 2020, which was to just stay engaged with life. Although I think there was a better movie that kind of claimed that title away from Soul that did it in a much better fashion. But yeah, ultimately, it's not really a film that I think too much about, which is, just a tad bit disappointing in that area. But yeah, I'm just looking at stone cold faces. Are you guys okay?
Yeah. The thing about Soul with me is that, like, I feel like throughout the whole entire process of watching the movie, like, I feel like I'm on the verge of crying, but it doesn't grip me to that and pushes me to that point. You know what I mean?
I think it's a messier film than people are willing to say. I think the idea for what the film was supposed to be clearly changed several times throughout development, and I think it shows within the film.
Okay.
Speaking of messy movies, well, there's another one that I isn't all the way perfect, but for me anyway, I really was taken with Promising Young Woman. Yes, number 7. Promising Young Woman, directed by Emerald Fennell. This is a really weird movie, and I don't know how much I want to say, because Kyle hasn't seen it, and I want him to see it, because it kind of takes a lot away from this film. But it, I think you could qualify it as a Me Too movie, right, Peter?
Can you qualify it as a Me Too movie? Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, you can. Very much so.
Yeah, so do you know Sally Sparrow, Kyle?
Sally Sparrow.
Doctor Who.
Refresh. Doctor
Carey Mulligan.
Sally. Yes, the one from I know Carey Mulligan from The Great Gatsby.
You could have just said Carey Mulligan.
Sally Sparrow from the episode Blink in the David Tennant era.
She was fantastic. I really wanted her to win the Best Actor award, the Best Actress, I should say, but I wasn't too angry at Frances McDormand for that. I don't know. I just felt it kind of like in a similar vein as the ending of The Invisible Man was. It was cathartic as well to see Carrie do what she was doing here, even though I know we got into questions about what the point of it was with Peter. There always was.
That was another very interesting review.
Yeah.
Because I had different opinions.
It's not the difference in opinion, it's just the uniqueness in opinion. Because you always are able to throw out something that no one else has said. So I don't necessarily, cast it aside as if it was meaningless or as if it was bad. I mean, how dare you have a different opinion than mine? It's just you always befuddle me with something that I don't quite expect you'll say about it. And that's something. Bo Burnham is great in this. Alfred Molina has has really good scene in this movie as well. And I personally love the ending, but it was quite polarizing, I would say. And the issues regarding the polarization really were not at all on Peter's mind, which is why I qualified that as a unique thing. But yeah, I would like to say more, but well, Now Number 6, Nomadland, Chloe Zhao. This is the film that won Best Director for her and also won Best Picture.
So you got 5 other films that are better than Best Picture?
Okay. So you were about to criticize me for whatever reason putting the Best Picture winner at number 6 on my list, as if that was a bad thing.
It was a snide comment saying, I guess you have 5 films.
Don't you think we are well
Picture.
stocked on your snide comments every now and then? I don't need this shit from you. I don't. Nomadland, as a matter of fact, is a film that I loved quite a bit. Chloe Zhao, she's a good filmmaker, as it turns out. And this was very atmospheric. Also, maybe the most beautiful movie of the year. She really knows how to shoot a movie. And just looking at this, you really feel the isolation in Fern, who is our main character here, portrayed by Frances McDormand. But also a uniqueness to her character. It's the kind of character that, for the most part, you're really trying to gauge, okay, like, is she as lonely as everybody else around her is trying to make out to be? As you kind of follow the journey, the life of a nomad and the introductions of these nomads is a really unique story, because it's just, at least for me, it's not something that I was particularly aware of was a thing. And the further along we go through her journey, the more you know about what happened in her past. And aside from the beautiful visuals and the wonderful atmospheric nature of it, there is this wonderful scene at the end of the film that is delivered by somebody who is not an actor, but dare I say was one of the best moments in the movie. One of the most emotional moments in the movie. It was an exchange that was between Fern and then someone else who is a real life figure in this world of nomads that came and portrayed a version of himself on film and had a particular line of dialogue that was just, I don't know what the right word would be for it. Emotional, profound, cathartic in many ways. So, yeah, this Chloe Zhao, I think I like her. And she ended up winning Best Director and Best Picture. And then Frances also won Best Actress. And can you believe that all of that was upstaged by the fiasco that ceremony ended? Remember that?
What a shit show. Holy.
No, we couldn't talk about Chloe Zhao. We had to talk about what the fuck happened with
Best
Hopkins.
Actor.
it. Never whoever's idea it was to put Best Actor as the last award of the night should have been fired and never been allowed to work in this town again.
No, there was. I guarantee you there was a reason, and it's the reason why
There was. Yeah, because they thought Chadwick would win. Idiots. And then when he didn't, they were like, okay, show's over, guys. Bye-bye.
But we also forget because it's kind of an afterthought, but it really took away from Chloe Zhao, who was the first woman of Asian descent to win Best Director at the Academy Awards, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a non-moment because of what happened. It was kind of when she went up on stage and accepted her Oscar, everybody was thinking, did I miss something? Why is this happening now? This should be the last thing of the night. And yeah. Anyway.
Because those motherfuckers knew that Chadwick wasn't going to win. And decided to close the floodgates before the flood.
Number 5 is a film that I quite dreaded because of initial reactions from certain people. And I feel like because of how much I really enjoyed this movie, especially in this year with other movies, I have really kept initial reactions from people at even further of an arm's distance, because this is a film that actually, looking back on it, I enjoyed very much. And of course, it's by a filmmaker that I enjoy very much, and that is David Fincher.
Oh.
Yeah, David Fincher, of course, through Social Network and Gone Girl. This year he gave us Mank, portrayed here by Gary Oldman, and featured a bunch of cameos as well as performances by other actors, of course. From a craft standpoint, wow, this film is just so impeccably made. Like it is made to look, feel, and sound like a film that came out of the era of the 1930s, I believe. Even the sound design was manipulated to sound like a film that came out of that era, to where I guess you could call it a little bit of a muffling effect, if you will. But like,
was it? Now, a question about the audio: was it in mono or was it stereo? Because mono was a commonplace back in the day.
I don't have the answer to your question because I'm not familiar with those two terms.
Okay. All right.
You see this? He's just trying to show you up.
But I told you it is made to sound like a film that came out of those days. So if you're saying it was mono, then it probably was mono. Because let me just give you an example. It's like there are these many actors in this big, large room, and they're all talking, but you don't hear the audio as crisp or as clearly as you hear in movies today. It would be of how it would sounded like. Think of Citizen Kane, which, by the way, this is about the guy that wrote the screenplay for Citizen Kane while he was writing the screenplay for Citizen Kane. So you see like all of the different players come in. You have, Orson Welles involved in this movie, actually. You also have William Randolph Hearst, portrayed beautifully by Charles Dance. You even have the guys that run the studios, like Metro Goldwyn, MGM, the MGM guys. And they're just, a lot of the film is just consumed with them being in large rooms and just talking about politics and all of this here and that there. And Mankiewicz is like their court jester. He's, this loony lefty guy, and all of them are like pro-capitalism, pro-America, and all, billionaire donor class. But they like having him around because he stirs up these interesting conversations. He's also a drunk, by the way. But it's just it helps. It's a very fun movie. I was quite surprised how much I enjoyed it. And some black and white too. That wasn't obvious for that. And it's on Netflix as well.
So many great films at the tip of your fingers, yet somehow Mr. Lira.
So Mank was on Netflix. Nomadland is on Hulu. Promising Young Woman was on VOD. Soul, Disney Plus. Octopus Teacher was Netflix, and Borat was Amazon Prime. So a lot of these were streaming. At number 3, this was in theaters, and quite the cathartic experience it was. Lee Winnell gave us something that Peter and I desperately needed to go on with our lives that night, and this is The Invisible Man. Shall we first start off with the fact that we all knew this was going to be a barren year for movies, but as we also knew that while there was the opportunity for many of these critics groups or the Academy to run with interesting choices, what a crime against nature it was that Elizabeth Moss was at no point considered for Best Actress. Because she was, to say she was great is kind of an understatement. She so wowed us, and
she basically pulled a Tom Hanks and acted against nothing for some of these shots, and like I think it like testament to make us feel terrified of them that Elizabeth does. It
was a legitimately scary movie too, because as the Invisible Man, it's the Invisible Man updated for at that point 2020. But I love the sequences where where you can't see the Invisible Man, and she's getting the crap beat out of her, and even like the several twists the story takes to see like her sister, I believe, right? And her getting her throat slit in the middle of a restaurant.
That was a crazy ass scene.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's such a crazy movie. But then even it kind of becomes like an action movie by the last act of it. The whole escape sequence through the prison. But yeah, and those last couple of minutes were so cathartic. I mean,
it It was the icing on the cake.
Just to see her
It's
slowly cut the throat of the guy that's been, tormenting her the entire time.
Spoilers, by the way, but still, like, it was delicious. Like, that ending was utterly delicious. And to have, and like, never before have I wanted to yell at a movie screen in the theater, "You go, girl."
Girl power.
Girl power.
Yeah. Now, it was a pretty devastating night, but that made the pain a little more tolerable, shall we say. And I speak from...
If anything, this could also be cathartic for those that are, like, in the Me Too movement as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
it wasn't cathartic for us because we were Me Too'd. It was cathartic for us for very different reasons.
Yeah, it's just because it was a shitty night and it was a good film.
A revenge film at that. And we definitely had vengeance in our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, continue before I get put on
Number
an FBI
3,
watch list.
also on Hulu.
Well, I thought that was Invisible
4.
Woman was number 3.
3
Oh,
is on Hulu. This is Palm Springs.
Well, you
Andy
really like that one, huh?
Samberg. Apparently you didn't. Kristen Milata.
I did.
And
I did.
J.K. Simmons and someone. Like, this was the Groundhog Day effect. The time loop movie that came out in the middle of 2020. Kind of came out at the perfect time. Because it's the whole concept is, they're living the same day every single day. Which is, by the way, so was the audience. So were we. At that point in the pandemic where everything was completely on lockdown. It's just a really clever film. I love how everything was handled visually and then also in the story of it. And I also do buy the romance. I love romance in movies, and this was definitely one that won me over. Yeah, this was really good. I don't know what more I can say. It's just really good.
I enjoyed it, yes. Oh my god, what's that creature behind you, Kyle?
That's my dog.
Oh, okay.
What did you think it was? A Demogorgon?
If only.
Number 2. These two movies, I would argue, are on a different level, far away from the rest of the pack. They're kind of in the stratosphere. Number 2, on the surface, looks a lot like a typical dramatic film made for awards, but in actuality, I would argue it qualifies as a horror movie. And this is the Academy Award-winning Anthony Hopkins in his performance for The Father. No, this is... Look, I know what this movie looks like. Peter himself expressed his concerns, or at least his worries when we did the review of the movie, about, like, I know this movie. I've seen this movie. It's got all the Academy Award-winning actors. Got Anthony Hopkins, got Olivia Colman. Like, it's going to be that Oscar bait film. And I don't know if I really want to check out this movie because these movies are all kind of the same, where it feels like, okay, sure, it's fine, but I've seen this. I don't want to see this. Florian Zeller brought this to the film from the stage, of which he was also involved in that production. The production design very much here plays a pivotal role in what I would feel qualifies this as a horror film. Because, of course, you have Anthony Hopkins, who's the main character. He's suffering through Alzheimer's, dementia. And so when you least expect it, you have no idea when you're moved around from different location to different location, and it all looks so much the same that you yourself are caught unawares. There is a section in the middle of the film where you are completely lost and unsettled by what's going on. And I think what really makes this unique and stand out so much so from all of the other films that have this topical matter is that it is the first movie that I can remember where they actually put you in the headspace of somebody who is suffering through this ailment, where so many other of these movies are from the perspective of the Olivia Colman character, the person who has to take care of the person who is sick and everything. So
that's the movie I thought it was going to be.
But there's a true horror that is just what this illness is. And to me, it's just one of my favorite films. And yeah, I would recommend this to anyone because it's just that good of a movie.
Now, drum roll, please.
Number 1 is Sonic the Hedgehog. No, it's not. I didn't see.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Did you see Sonic, Kyle?
Yeah, I saw it.
You know,
My God, you saw it.
you know that qualified as a 2020 movie.
Yeah. Not that one that would flash in a top 10
But you
or a 10 list.
But you didn't give a top 10 list. You were only talking about the movies that you saw for the year. Why was Sonic not included?
Okay, something that was remotely good. I put remotely good.
Did you
movies.
like Sonic the Hedgehog?
It was entertaining.
Clearly
Yeah.
not.
It was entertaining, but I want to go home and I
See-
want to write home about it.
He's so hurt because it's his number one. He doesn't understand why
it's
you
my
hate
number
it.
1. This is the film that I think really did the most with its main theme, or the main message of the film, which is
Go fast. I'm just kidding. Go on.
it is kind of scary, that creature moving behind you. I can see it from the corner of my eye.
That creature has a name. Her name is Lady.
It's a dog. Anyway,
She's a dog.
that is an example of a difference without a distinction. Anyway, this is really a movie about committing back to life, and it's a lot of the what.
I know what it is. Go on.
So I lied before. Soul is my favorite movie of the year. See how I switched that around? No, this is the international film from Denmark. It's called Druk, but also that's the original name of it, Drunk. It sounds like drunk, but it's like Druk. But it's called
Druk.
Another Round in America. With Mads Mikkelsen in the lead, which was interesting because I'm not necessarily used to seeing him in a lead, and I'm not used to seeing him when he's not just typecast as a villain. So this is a really except for Rogue One, but then again he was killed off relatively early in that movie.
James Bond really set him on a trajectory.
I'm sure he has a very nice house. He ain't complaining.
So this film is about these 4. I think they were high school teachers, right, Peter? They were not college professors, were they? They were.
Yeah, that was what confused me because, European school systems are very different. I think they're high school teachers. I thought it was a college.
I mean, I guess
I'm pretty sure.
That's a little foreign background. My dad my dad grew up in the Philippines, and they call junior high school, like when you're in 7th grade, that's your first year of high school. Hello, did you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So like your first year of high school is 7th grade. Your second year of high school is 8th grade, and you go on for 6 years of high school, pretty much in the Philippines. And that's just an example of how it's different in there. So when my dad keeps on saying, when I was in 8th grade, he's like, oh, he's in high school, and I'm like, I'm in junior high, and just that little distinction is just like it's weird how the school systems work. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So, Mads Mikkelsen plays a character that is very much just kind of like in a rut, and he doesn't really know or feel like he has to do much about it. But we start off in a place where he's kind of accepted that his life is just going to be like this from now on. And then he engages in this experiment with his friends who are also teachers at the school to show up to work a little bit drunk and to see if that enhances their ability to do their job. And for a while it works, and then of course predictably it doesn't after a bit. But that concept in and of itself is very intriguing. It definitely made for a very entertaining watch. But there's a lot underneath the surface as well to it, because really ultimately what is on this film's mind is, especially particularly I would say for people who are not exclusively for people who are in the middle of their lives, but it could be for anybody to just get back in it and keep going with it. There's so much more to go. That's what the whole title is, Another Round. It ends in
another round of
basically
life.
another round of life, and it ends in one of the most joyous closing sequences, and one of the most, I mean, like Guillermo del Toro said himself, like the ending of this movie made him want to like stand up and kick the air and just do all the stuff that was going on. How they shot that last sequence, I do want to see myself someday. How that, whatever behind the scenes featurette there was, and how they filmed it. But yeah, like that's kind of like the perfect antidote to how 2020 made you feel like, which was like just being closed off from everything and everybody. So yeah, those are my top 10 movies of the year. Peter, it is your turn to talk to us.
Before I get to my top 10 of the year 2020, I should discuss some honorable mentions, of which this year I have 70. So, here we go. And usually the films are somewhat in the order that I saw them. Not always, but somewhat. So, Underwater. A lot of people seem not to like it, but I thought it was a really pretty damn good little horror flick.
Is that with Kristen Stewart?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I recommend. What Did Jack Do? This is actually a short film by David Lynch in which a monkey sings. It's on Netflix. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Pretty good. A Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon.
We're already there. We're already there, man. Okay, we're just we're already at an Invader Zim level of mentions. Okay, it's
a cute movie.
Hey, had I known that was that Invader Zim was like qualified, I would have
It's a movie.
I know, but like all your everybody's technicality bullshit here on the fancy red spotlight entertainment, I didn't know if it was qualified. So
it's several people, like, Peter. You were.
So had I had known, I would have put that on my top 10 of that year. Invader Zim.
Okay.
Piece is nice.
The Platform. This is the other one. This is also a Netflix film. It is very, I don't know, communist. The conceit is very interesting. There are a bunch of people in a prison, right? Mm-hmm. And it is a prison that goes straight up, and there's like 100 or 200 plus floors, and every day there is a floating, in the middle of the prison, there's a floating slab that starts at the bottom, starts at the top, and then floats down. And in the slab is a massive, beautiful, just mounds and mounds of food, right? So it stops at the first floor, and you can eat as long as you want for about 5 minutes, and then it goes to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, down like 200 floors. And if you're on the top floor, you're eating really good, you're drinking really good, you have a full belly, and if you're on those bottom floors, you're probably going to starve to death because there's not enough food by the time it gets down to you. And that's kind of the whole movie. It's interesting. The Willoughbys. This is a movie I actually thought of when Kyle was bitching about Encanto, because it's an animated film that I recommend. It's on Netflix, and it's about a group of kids whose parents are really abusive to them, so they decide to kill them.
Good for them.
By sending them away on an extreme vacation that hopefully turns them into orphans. It's a very cute film. Extraction was a lot of fun. Blood Quantum. It's a Native American zombie flick. A lot of fun. Da Five Bloods. We've talked about that. I'm surprised this film wasn't on Alexis's list. The Revolutionist. Eugene V. Debs. This is a document. You don't know who Eugene V. Debs is?
I don't know this movie.
Okay. Well, it was a movie that Bernie Sanders himself was pushing a lot. And he did live on Twitter. He did live discussions on it with the narrator Danny Glover, and it's about the labor leader and socialist Eugene V. Debs.
Was he in a... Okay, was there a movie portrayal of him?
It's a documentary.
I know what this...
Oh, was there a movie
point.
portrayal? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Continue.
Okay. Palm Springs. I like the movie. It's very good. Hamilton. I don't hate the movie. Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Excellent. Gretel and Hansel. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Kimmy versus the Reverend. This was a... Do you guys know Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yeah, it's with Aaron from The Office.
Yes, there was a Netflix choose your own adventure movie. I enjoyed it. Playdate with Destiny. That's the
Simpsons short.
Yeah, the Simpsons short. I threw it on there. La Llorona. Impractical Jokers, the movies. I like the Impractical Jokers. I think they're very funny. Out. That's the gay short with Disney.
You know,
they would never put it behind a film, but they dumped it on Disney Plus.
I had no idea that short films were qualified for this.
It's a movie. I know Alexis gets you confused with his bullshit, but
no, this should not be confusing. This is a short film, concert films. Those are absolutely documentary films. Those are definitely involved in this. There was never any kind of confusion to this. If it happened to be a television series or a miniseries, it does not qualify for it. There's a difference there.
Alexis and all his roles. Okay. The other film... the next film, I'm thinking of ending things.
Me too.
I'm thinking of ending things too.
Yeah. Shirley, which is about famous horror writer Shirley Jackson. Also on Hulu. The Trial of the Chicago 7. We've talked about that. 32 Malazna Street. Horror film I saw. Pretty neat. Hashtag Alive, An American Pickle is cute. Disclosure. I think you saw this one, right, Alexis? It was the trans documentary. Oh, you didn't see it? Okay. Well, it's really, really good. If Anything Ain't Happens, I Love You. It's a very sad short film about school shootings. Not Alone in Here. Also another short film by David F. Sandberg. He does a lot of great horror shorts. You guys should check out his YouTube channel. Bad Trip, which was fucking hilarious. With Eric Andre. There's some good jokes in there. You guys should check it out. Wendy, Love and Monsters, which is a lot better than I think it had any right to be. I thought it was going to be crap. It was pretty good. Run. It's a movie. Happy Halloween, Scooby-Doo. I saw it.
Did you see Scoob?
I did. It is not on this list. Um,
Watch, it's the number one film. like Alexis Soto's number one film is Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah, it's a hell of a Halloween special film. There's a lot of crazy shit in it. There is the literal Scarecrow from the Batman series in there, and kind of has a thing for Velma. Bill Nye the Science Guy is in it, and it's really weird.
Is he playing a character, or is it Bill Nye the Science Guy?
It's literally Bill Nye the Science. He plays Bill Nye the Science Guy. Okay,
it's very Scooby-Doo.
Yes, very Scooby-Doo. Host, horror film through Skype.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's fun. Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. Oh, I guess this was a musical. Yeah. I don't. You guys probably never heard of it. It's cute. It's cute. Forrest Whitaker, Keegan-Michael Key. Yeah, it's cute. We Bare Bears, the movie.
Wait, question. Do you watch the show?
Yes.
You watch the? What do you think of the show?
Very, very adorable.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Onward. We talked about that. The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I don't even know how to describe that one. Uncle Frank. Dick Johnson is Dead. This is on Netflix, I believe. It's a documentary about a woman who basically dealing with the idea that her dad's gonna die soon because he's old, but it's also it's humorous. It's a humorous look at that. It's really good. Color Out of Space. It is H.P. Love. Is it H.P. Lovecraft? Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. Pretty good. Fat Man. I watched Fat Man. Kyle. With Mel Gibson. It was alright. Leap of Faith. It's a documentary on The Exorcist talking with the director. Really, really good. Mank. Guns Akimbo. VFW. Soul. Wonder Woman 1984. This is kind of an ironic one, but We Can Be Heroes by Robert Rodriguez. It was cute.
The unofficial sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah, basically. Relic, another really good horror film. Freaky. Possessor by Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg, so you can probably guess what kind of film that is. One Night in Miami. Emma, starring Anya Taylor-Joy. Sound of Metal,
O'Connor.
Promising Young Woman. Another Round, Minari. I think this is right. A Quiet Place Part 2? Is that when it came out?
Hell no,
Oh.
it wasn't. It's 2021.
Okay.
We saw it in the theater,
Okay,
by the way. That
okay.
should tell you. Yes,
Did we
we
see it in
did
the
see
theater?
it in a theater. Come on. We saw it the same day we saw The
Okay.
Conjuring 3.
Oh god.
This was May.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Wasn't it also like the worst theater experience you guys had?
It wasn't the. It was.
Oh, it was.
gosh.
Oh, now I remember. It was pretty bad. Okay, scratch that one. The Empty Man. Yeah. Okay, and that's all. I think that's all of the honorable mentions. So let's take this from the bottom. Borat subsequent movie film. That's my number 10.
Wow, we matched.
Yeah. Delivery of prodigious bribe to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Great title. It's really stupid. It's really funny. There's some all-time great gags in there. It's one of those movies where I feel I can just throw on and just fucking laugh and just have a good time, and it's on and I'm listening to it, and it's so good. And there's also like a sweet story at the heart of it, which my non-cynical heart very much enjoys. So yeah, Borat subsequent movie for number 10.
I don't know. You loved Ghostbusters Afterlife, which threw me off guard completely.
It was okay. Number 9 is The Invisible Man, directed by Lee Winnell. What you see can't hurt you. So yeah, much like Alexis said, this is a really great one, and you, Kyle. I really, really enjoyed it. It took, I think, a really difficult classic horror monster and updated it in really interesting ways to make it, because like, how do you make an invisible man scary? You can't even see him, right? So
Yeah.
What story do
Well,
you
you
do?
cast Oliver
And I think
Jackson
this-
Cohen for one. Oliver Jackson Cohen, who, by the way, is famous for his work in The Haunting of Hill House and also The Haunting of Bly Manor.
The thing,
Yes.
the thing that's impeccably good about The Invisible Man is the fact that, you know, again, we're tying it back to the Me Too movement, where like, do you believe this woman or not? You know,
It's gaslighting the movie.
yeah, basically, and it just like
Much like the
it makes
country
you feel
itself
bad.
was being gaslit that night for other reasons.
And it's very much much akin to like, I don't know, it's fantastic in that element. I like it. And
Yeah, no. It's really, really good. Some great sequences of suspense. It really hits the ground running when the way the film opens up. It's a really, I just enjoyed the hell out of it, and I would love other modern horror updates in that vein, to like the other classic Universal monsters.
Frankenstein.
So, for sure, all of them. Creature Black Lagoon, let's do it. I guess it kind of already had one with The Shape of Water.
They made it a romance instead.
Hey, I'm not hating. It was a great film. Number 8 is His House. This is
Whose house?
His House. That's the title. Let me read the description for this one. I don't know if a lot of people out there know this film. After making a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan, a young refugee couple struggles to adjust to their new life in a small English town that has an unspeakable evil lurking beneath the surface. This is a horror film.
I think I've heard of. I think I saw that.
It's on Netflix.
I think I saw that.
Like, the whole film?
The whole film, yeah.
And you just didn't...
Oh
It just
god, I
slipped.
forgot that. Holy shit. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty damn good.
I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Again, it's another horror movie where there's more going on under the surface. And I really, really enjoyed the central characters. The husband and wife, I think, have a lot going on to them.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of the fear of what they left versus where they are now, and trying to adjust to that. It's I think it's so well done. And yeah, it's another film that is just buried in Netflix somewhere. I think it's another gem that's just buried in there that probably a lot of people don't know about. But yeah. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I saw it. Holy shit. I'm looking it up right now, and holy shit. Yeah. You see, this is where these past 2 years have felt like 2 decades already. Where you forget. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Okay, so that was number 8. Number 7 is The Vast of Night. Alexis's face. It seems as if I need to do another description of the film, so I will go ahead and do that. At the dawn of the space race, 2 radio-obsessed teens discover a strange frequency over the airwaves in what becomes the most important night of their lives and in the history of their small town. It's on Amazon Prime, I guess, if you want to see it. And it's basically a really well-done, slow-paced, feature-length Twilight Zone episode. Like the movie literally starts with like an old 50s TV starting, and then like an intro similar to the Twilight Zone before going into the TV.
Like Rod Serling
and
doing his thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But it's really, really well done. And what's great is it's all atmosphere. You don't see a lot, but there's really great atmosphere to it. And I ended up well, obviously it's right up my alley, but because it was so well done, I ended up enjoying it a lot. So yeah, The Vast of Night. And then number 6, The Kid Detective.
Again. Go again.
another face. So here we go again. The description. No longer a kid, not much of a detective. A once celebrated kid detective, now 31, continues to solve the same trivial mysteries between hangovers and bouts of self-pity, until a naive client brings him the first adult case to find out who brutally murdered her boyfriend. This is... Oh, and it stars Adam Brody. It is a dark comedy. Emphasis on dark once it gets towards the end of the film. But it's basically a coming of age film, but it's so funny and it's so well done. It's the kind of movie that I wish got more attention, but just doesn't. It's another gem of a film that I think just goes under people's radar.
And where is it at?
Where is it? I saw it on a plane.
You saw it on a plane?
Yes. So I don't know where it's at.
The way cinema is meant to be seen.
The way it was meant to be seen, okay?
Fucking...
On a plane with shoddy earphones.
I love it.
But it's really good, and I highly recommend it. Dark comedy, and yeah, it goes for it. And Adam Brody's so good. He's another person where I feel like he should be like an A-lister. He's really, really good.
Oh, people could watch it on Hulu.
Is it on Hulu?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, check it out. Number 5, Wolf Walkers.
Go again.
Wolf Walkers. Like a wolf, like a hairy wolf. Oh, one of those.
No, I mean, like, go ahead and read the description.
Okay. The description. Okay. Be fierce, be wild, be free. In a time of superstition and magic, when wolves are seen as demonic and nature and evil to be tamed, a young apprentice hunter comes to Ireland with her father to wipe out the last pack. But when she saves a wild native girl, their friendship leads her to discover the world of the Wolfwalkers and transform her into the very thing her father is tasked to destroy. This is a absolutely stunning animated film. I believe it is on Apple Plus.
Apple TV Plus.
Apple TV Plus. Okay. It is. I fell in love with it. I think it's so beautiful. The animation and the story itself and the characters. It probably should have won Best Animated Feature. I don't even know if it was nominated, but yeah, it's genuinely fantastic.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
But Pixar won it again.
Yeah, it didn't deserve it. Wolfwalkers was absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. Did you see it, Alexis? No. Okay. It's because you have Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, anybody that has that is watching either or Ted Lasso or the Mariah Carey Christmas special. It's about all that there is on there.
Okay. That's all there is. Okay.
Quality content.
Number 4, the 40-year-old version.
The 40-year-old
Version.
Yes, version.
Okay.
Obviously, a play on the other movie called The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Not the same
Yes.
thing. Not the same film. Not remotely.
Not the same. No. I'll describe it. Find your voice. Desperate for a breakthrough as she nears the big 4-0, struggling New York City playwright Radha finds inspiration by reinventing herself as a rapper. This is another, I think, hidden gem on Netflix. It's really funny, a really personal film about a lot of different things, mostly being a woman reaching her 40s, trying to look at where she's been in life, what she wants to do. It's really funny, really well done. The actress, writer, director Radha Blank is really, really great in the lead role. It's a film I just kind of threw on because I saw on Netflix. So I'm like, it's as the kids say, it slaps. It's a real good one. I really, really liked it. Let's see. That was number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay. This is the curveball, I think. Number 3 is Burrow.
Oh, okay. Interesting. About the little
The short movie?
Yeah.
the rabbit.
Yes.
The Disney short film. Okay, explain to me why that is on the position that it is.
I've watched it like 20 times. I love it so much. It's the it's the kind of animation you just don't see, especially from American animators. You just don't see anymore. It's just so beautiful.
It's a great short for people with social anxiety.
Well, don't call me out like that. It's beautiful hand-drawn-esque animation. It's this, and maybe this is the kind of thing I have a soft spot for, but it's about community, really. And I think it's such a beautiful little piece of art that's so perfectly paced, even though it's like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
The music's great, the animation is just so beautiful, and emotionally it still reached me, even though it took I think it reached me more emotionally than most in 7 minutes, or however long it is, 6 minutes, holy shit, than most live action films released that year. It touched my heart. I don't know what to tell you.
Your cold
And
calloused heart.
I thought it was quite beautiful. So yes, Burrow. And it's high too. It's number 3. And number 2, Nomadland. It's a bit higher than Mr. Alexis. I think it's on Hulu, right? Or it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
Disney movie. It's on Hulu.
The best
remember?
Disney movie, right? It's a really beautiful, emotional journey with this character, Fern, I think her name is. What is it? Yeah, Fern. That I saw multiple times, and I felt just as moved by it each time. It sold me on Chloe Zhao as a director and how amazing she is. And yeah, it absolutely deserved its Best Picture win and Best Director win as well. Director. Yeah.
Also, Best Actress.
Yes.
3 big ones.
And number 1, I think it's pretty obvious, The Father.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Alexis talked about it himself, but it is I think it really worked because I expected nothing from this film. I didn't want to watch it. It looks like a typical Oscar bait.
Did you think this would be one of those movies that I would make you watch and that you'd hate?
Yes. We're not hate, but it's just like, why bother? Right? Like, I thought it was going to be the next Green Book, where it's like, yes, it's technically well made and a good performance, I guess, but like, I don't care. I thought it was going to be a movie like that. But it starts off, wonderful performance, of course, by, what's his name?
Anthony Hopkins.
Academy Award-winning performance by Anthony Hopkins.
Which he did deserve to win. I'm throwing that out.
Yes.
He deserved the win.
Because there were a lot of people that were like, well, Anthony Hopkins winning for that, of course the Oscars would always do that, suggesting that Hopkins didn't deserve to. He deserved that win.
He deserved the win. I'm sorry, but he deserved it. So, Anthony Hopkins, great performance, but then you start to notice how things change, and the changes are so subtle. And then a big one happens where all of a sudden his daughter is played by a different actress, and you're as confused as he is. And it almost feels like, this word keeps coming up, it almost feels like the movie starts to gaslight you, where they're like, that's his daughter, that's always been his daughter.
But that's
and
what
he's trying to.
But that's what Alzheimer is, you know. It's basically
sure.
It's basically your brain playing, you know, a game of Gaslight with you.
Yeah, you're just. It so perfectly captures the feeling of confusion and just not being grounded in reality and where you are. Just always just sort of that anxiousness of, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
How long have I been here? And just all of that, you know, like, where's my daughter? Where's my family member? Where's my wife, my husband? All of this. Even though they may be long dead, or you haven't seen them in years, or such and such and such. The way it just pulls you in this sort of nightmare, it almost feels like, yeah, like a waking nightmare where the world's just constantly shifting and you never know how to catch your footing. It's amazing how well I think the film captured that feeling, and then to center it with the absolutely amazing performance by Anthony Hopkins that just keeps you, he's sort of your lifeline. Him and his performance keeps you from just flying off the edge. And it's not like it's a crazy film, right? It's just, it's almost like a horror film. Like, just to be in this situation so terrifying.
But
it
sounds like it's because you're describing it as a horror film, but like that's the harsh reality of people that have that.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it so much scarier, right?
Like Peter always said, the best kind of horror is what's based in reality.
Yeah.
This movie sounds great. I don't know how I'm gonna handle it because, like, for personal reasons, I mean, I have a long history of Alzheimer's in my family. If I'm lucky enough to grow old, I'll probably get it. Oh boy.
I see it daily. So it's not. Wow. It didn't, like, I'll put it this way. It's not like another movie I refuse to see, Don't Look Up.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, I don't need this in my life. I don't want to watch it. I don't need to feel that way. I don't need to be put in a pit of despair. This film didn't do that to me. It's just such a beautifully well-made film.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I was just more moved by it than, like, depressed by it. I guess. If that makes any sense, which it might not.
I wasn't depressed, but I was moved.
Yeah. It's more like that.
I mean, it's your number one. It's my number two.
Yeah.
Have we ever, like, had because sometimes we have similar films in our top 10, or at least Kyle and I do, but I'm not sure if you and I, Peter, have had a film that close to the top that was the same.
I don't know. I really don't.
Welcome
We'd
to the multiverse.
have to go back and look in. We'd have to go
Well,
back
that
and
should
look at
tell
prior
it.
lists. Yeah.
That should tell you that the film's pretty great.
No, yeah, it is. It's really, really good. It caught me by surprise, and I'm really glad. For once, I was glad that Alexis made me watch. He usually makes me watch shit like Boy State or some fucking... Or Fahrenheit 11/9.
Fahrenheit 11/9 is a masterpiece. It got everything right, and we're now currently suffering through those circumstances. Even more so than we were in 2000.
Thanks, Michael Moore.
Yeah, you bitch. Yeah, that was my top 10 of 2020. I think this is the first year our lists were that different. I think
They were very
they're
different.
very different.
I think you and I only had 3 movies. At least me and Peter, we had 3 movies, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more than usual.
No, we usually have like 5, I think, right?
Well, we have to go back and check.
Yeah. Let me look at my 2019 list real quick since I have it.
Because you had movies like Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I have in my 2019 list, I have Parasite, Knives Out.
Cats.
Was Jojo Rabbit on your list?
Yeah,
What about The Farewell?
it was not.
Okay. What about Marriage Story?
At the time, no.
Being
Huh.
alive.
Oh, maybe we did only have 3. Oh shit. Okay. I thought we had more.
3
Um,
is the magic number.
I guess my list had more movies than ever that you guys haven't heard of. I guess is what you would
Yeah.
say. And
And
but
one
there's some good ones on there. You guys
one
should
I
check out.
surprisingly knew.
Yeah.
And seen, but just completely forgot that I watched.
Yeah. But yeah, looking at the list, as shit as 2020 was, I would say, especially looking at my 2021 list, and I already have so many films where I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Not like 2020. There's still some damn good ones, I feel, in my list for 2020. More so than I originally thought when I started making the list.
Yeah. I have 10 movies I really like.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So even in the years where there's hardly anything, you can still find something to make a list out of.
You gotta look.
You gotta look, yeah, especially this year of more than any other year.
We did it.
We did it, guys. We made it through another year.
Finally.
Now come back next week when we do our 2021 list.
Well, technically, Kyle gave it away.
He
It's
said
in
it for
March.
March. Yeah. No, because there's still so many fucking movies for 2021.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to watch. Jesus.
Yeah.
Out of the frying pan into the fire. So they say.
Yep. Kyle, I'm not sure what it is, the status of it yet, but because I'm quite frankly not aware of it myself. Before we log off today, can you update our audience? What is the status of the Fantasy Fair podcast, of which you and Alexis Moreno co-host?
Your guess is as good as mine, my friend.
You're the showrunner.
You're the
what do you mean?
winner. You're not allowed to have a guess as good as anyone.
We're on hiatus. We're on hiatus right now.
Okay. I really want to pick your brain about that, but I guess we'll log off first. As this is the final episode of 2021, I don't know. Did you guys want to say anything about how your year was?
Crap.
I pretty much said it when I was like prefacing my my lack of a top 10 list. So yeah.
I'm not sure that word is used that way, prefacing, and even if it was, it's pronounced preface, not preface. I had that on my mind the entire episode. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Well, we want to thank you all for listening to our show as you have for all these years. For new listeners, thank you for, staying tuned. Peter and I don't know, this past month, we did it, Peter. We were able to see all the movies we wanted to see and do reviews on them.
Yeah.
We did so many. Matrix, Kingsman, Spider-Man, Nightmare Alley, West Side Story, Being the Ricardos, all of that. Was just in this last month, and we have so many more movies to go. We're not going to go anywhere. That's a threat. But thank you all so much for listening. Reminder to stand under our spotlight for all the latest news coming out of the world of movies, and even some more exciting projects maybe bubbling right now from what I'm hearing, coming in the year 2022. Stay with us as we enter what I believe is our 7th, if not 8th year into production. Have a happy new year, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.